Welcome, dear friends. My name is Artem. I'm the moderator of today's conference, the narrative director. I will spend all of those 3 days with you researching the storytelling in organizations. Please fire reaction if you can hear me and if you see me well. They are in the right bottom corner. The fire reaction. I waited for this for so long. Thank you very much for choosing our event today. For those who I don't know, I want to introduce myself. For 7 years already, I've been working with Stories Swiss Conference. This conference is the sixth conference. We started back in 2020. We always research how their stories can be used in organizations. This conference this year we've created together with Evgeny Volnov last year, and actually it shows a bit my own pathway in the storytelling. In 2019, I started practicing storytelling as a trainer in the bank. I was using the Master of Stories by Paul Smith. I was taking the stories from this book and was sharing it during my training sessions. And it was indeed a pleasure for me. All the individuals were very, very engaged. And I thought that stories are for argumentation, for engagement. But then I've learned about 9 techniques of storytelling by David Hutchins. It says storytelling in its title, but actually it's far beyond. It's actually about the cycle of stories, about listening, about creating a strategy out of a story. And later on, I learned about textbooks around the corporate campfire by Evelyn Clare. For the first time, I've learned about chief story officer or narrative director who works with storytelling. And for me, it was a shock. The chief storyteller, the story is all about just a good performance, and this is it. But actually, there is more to this about the stories that we can learn, and we can actually use them. And for those 3 days, we'll be researching the world of stories. But before we begin, I would like to share with you one of the interviews that actually caught my attention a lot. I will show you part of the interview with John Chrissy, who was the top storyteller in Toyota. And this
Actually,
video will be in
Toyota
English,
brought
but
everybody together. We all went to Michigan.
Right.
Everybody that was in public relations met us there at Michigan, and we talked for a week about story.
Wow.
And we talked about which story we were going to tell in our press releases, in our how we were going to incorporate personal interaction with our press releases. For example, you remember when we had the unexpected acceleration problem? Do you remember this about 15, 20 years ago? There was a problem with the cars. They would accelerate without, you couldn't control the car. It just lurched out into traffic. Well, the way Toyota handled that was not to hide under a barrel and say, well, it's somebody else's fault. They said, no, we found the problem and we're going to fix it, and we're sorry. It will never happen again. Now, what you don't know is that at Toyota every year at the Georgetown plant, there is a room set up with all the victims who were hurt because of those cars being a bad quality. And their stories are told over and over by video in that room. And every year, every single Toyota employee is required to go into that room and go through the whole display, sign off that they saw the whole thing all over again. Because we don't ever want to forget that every time we do anything, it's affecting our public's trust. So does the expense of taking people off the line and getting them in there and making them walk through there for 30 minutes, that costs money to do that. Is that expense justified in the bottom line? Absolutely it is. Because the person walks out there determined to do a good job from there on. I will tell you that the factory there, 10,000 people work in that factory. 68% have perfect attendance. They've never, ever been late or absent from their job.
When for the first time I learned about this story, I couldn't really believe that story can have such an impact. But please put fire if this example also resonates with you and you would like to know more about the stories, more than just public speaking. Why I believe it is connected to the development of the storytelling in organizations and such. Recently, we see this trend really clearly. Many top magazines, newspapers, they are writing about the following. They are saying that companies are looking for good storytellers. Even OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, they opened the vacancy to find a person who will be telling stories. OpenAI, we are looking for a person, for a narrative director. And usually, right now, it's mainly about the impact of copywriting. But for example, Miro, they had the vacancy of the head of storytelling department has marketing, but then you uh, read the description. It says head of storytelling will be the person to sniff the stories, to manage the communication, to manage the positioning. So it's much more than marketing. This is just a systematic approach to storytelling, to stories. So this is what we are going to discuss throughout those 3 days. But before we proceed, I want really to talk about you. So that why? In order to make campus work, you need to wait. So let's also give a little bit of time. Please write where are you joining from, what do you intend, what are you looking forward to hear in this conference. So let's give a minute to each other. Write these answers in the chat. Well, actually, the compass shows N and S. On one side, this is north and south, Nord and Süd. But in business, this can be numbers and S, story. Those are things that are always connected. North cannot exist without south. Numbers, they cannot be without stories. So those 3 days will be on this self and all story part. Thank you for sharing your location. Thank you for sharing your aspirations. The geography is enormous. Kazakhstan, St. Petersburg, Blagoveshchensk, Sheremetyevo, Cheripovets, Moscow, Kazan, where is Samara? Thank you for choosing this event. Please share what are your aspirations, are there expectations, and let the journey begin. Honestly speaking, when I thought of this conference, I was actually provoked or motivated by Evgeny Volnov, who is the content director at Headhunter, because he told me that he was really interested in the position of chief storyteller, and he wanted to create a conference around this. And I thought, oh, this is a nice idea. But then I thought, what is the place of the narrative director in business? This position, this role, what is it about? What should this person do? Trying to find the answer to this question, we try to systematize everything that we have in business and what is related to story. For the first time, I would like to show you the map of the storyteller position. It will be a kind of a metaphorical map. So for us, this is the seven C's of business. Then we want to reach something. Then business wants to reach something. You need to go on a voyage or a journey, and you can find the treasure trove. You need to go through the seven C's in order to become successful. I'll be eager to listen to your comments. First of all, you need to cross the sea of clarity. Here, you need to understand priorities, the clear task, the transparency in communication, the clarity in changes. What are the main questions here? What are we doing? Where we are now? Where we are going? How we can become successful? What is our strategy? Who is responsible for that? And what is important right now? The second C, this is the C of attractiveness, let's call it so. Here, business actually looks for loyalty, for trust. It should be attractive to regulator, to employees, and in the long-term perspective, business wants to become part of the community. In this C, you find the answers to the following questions. What are my big goals and aspirations? What we want to share with the whole world? This third C, the C of unity. This C, you for engagement, the unity around the common mission, the safety due to common value, this feeling of the unity that we are all together, and in perspective that gives the long-term trust and safety. Here we discuss how we behave when we are proud of ourselves, how we give feedback, and so on. The fourth C, the C of growth. Here are the sheep of the future. Here in this C, you are looking for innovations, ideas for development, real entrepreneurship, the culture of R&D, different adaptation to the future. Here, the company really becomes flexible and agile, and business shall decide how the business can be useful in 10, 15 years, how the company should be structured so it could be flexible and agile. The next C is a C of efficiency. Here, business looks for profit, cost efficiency, quality, effectiveness here and now, the stability, the working economic model. Here, we decide what we are producing, how we support the quality and the result for our clients, who does what, and C. The sixth C is the C of resilience. It's about order, proper stability, safety, physical, digital, cyber safety, lack of risks, reputational, financial, and other types of risks. So it's really about the wealth and prosperity. Here we also have three questions. How to ensure that there will be no risks, how to have the order, and how to prevent the threats, the potential threats. And the last C, sometimes we forget about it, but it's really important. And right in the middle, this is a C of vitality. In this C, we are looking for the drive, for the wish to do something, the speed of decision making, the team energy, both in stable times and in the crisis. Those seven C's. And what are the main questions here in this C of vitality? What gives us the zest to continue, how we can recover, and how we should act not to waste our energy. Those C's, they actually make the business stable. If in one of the C's we have the storm and for a long time we cannot cross it, it just can be ruined. Actually, does those C's resonate with you? Please put the fire reaction or write something in the chat if this vision of business in this way resonates with you. Katerina says, does the person himself or herself has a very different says. Well, I haven't really thought of this, but probably not so much. I will think about this. Probably we personally have all also our says because organization and an individual, we are all having more or less similar patterns and we have very linked stories. Uh, why I am speaking about those Cs during the conference related to storytelling, because we need to navigate the Cs, and I'll try to show how it's possible. And later on, Evgeny will join us. Well, I am really fond of abbreviations, so we have Historia. This is the ancient Greek word. This is actually the research of experience in order to get the knowledge. This is how the ancient Greek understood the word Historia. This is the word that gave birth to history later on. So those histories, those stories, they help us navigate, they give us clarity. Here, you can see the sea of attractiveness. You can see different ships here, and you can also see different difficulties, different risks that exist here, different threats, just Kraken, for example. So my very first example, one of the companies just recently launched one of the campaigns that was based on the following. In 2014, they saw that there's this stereotype that men fought, more than 90% of men, they thought that household routines are only for women. And this company was Ariel. They are doing different chemicals for the household routine. And they created a wonderful ad. This is a story of a grandpa. In this video, grandpa was saying that he was so sad that his daughter is responsible for everything, work, house, and she has no time. And this old man acknowledges openly that he is part of the responsibility for such a life of the woman, because this is how his family was organized. By the end of this video, he actually was given a kind of a oath to himself. He promised that he is going to be more attentive, and he leaves a letter for a daughter. The daughter reads this letter at the very end of the video. He goes back, this grandpa, and he starts to behave differently, working with living again with the mom of this beautiful lady, and it shows how he decides to do everything together. Well, this is a wonderful story with a good understanding of a market, with a good understanding of a brand, and this actually a story that left a trace, really. Brand Ariel for the first time had a wonderful shift in brand awareness. This brand was on the position 44, and now it's in top 10. And what is more important, now, according to research, the amount of men who were sure that the household duties are only for men had decreased 3 times. So you can talk a lot about the sea and happiness, but I would like to mention the sea of growth. Steve Denning was working in the World Bank, and in 1995, he motivated people to invest into the management of knowledge. He shared a story that was the following. In June 1995, the doctor from village in Zambia reached the site on the prevention of disease. This was in Zambia, one of the poorest countries. On this site, he found the way how to cure malaria. But for the World Bank, uh, for us, it was important that we are not part of this story. We know about the finances, but let's imagine if we would create something that will help us to really manage the knowledge, and if we will learn and know more. This helped a lot, and now World Bank is the top three companies in knowledge sharing and knowledge management. No one believed this is possible for the World Bank. And the last but not the least, the sea of efficiency. In FedEx company, in order to support the operational speed, we launched a campaign that's called Purple Promise. The color of the month is purple, and in this campaign, the team members, we were sharing the stories. Then they did something to speed up the delivery and make the delivery more efficient. And those stories were not just circulated in the company. They were actually shared and supported. So the stories were very well known in the company, and actually it led to cost efficiency and the creation of such video that actually influenced the self-attractiveness.
It was just a regular Monday when suddenly,
Can you get this board to Tony Hawk?
FedEx presents Tall Tales of True Deliveries.
I needed a miracle. So I went straight to where miracles happen. Social media.
Hey, did someone say miracle? Let me see that.
So I got the board to Tony, and he even sent one back. But in the future, I'm gonna need an address and a zip code.
If this is what we did for a skateboard, see what we can do for your business. FedEx.
As you see in this short video story that was created for the of efficiency and became part of the sea of attractiveness, because all seas are connected. When you work with stories in one sea, it helps you to cross other seas as well. I really like this idea. I shared this thought with you, and we've discussed several questions that we want to discuss again and together with you. Evgeny, can you join me? Let's discuss the seas. Zhenya, I shared an invitation to you to join me on broadcast. Please put fire if it resonates with you, and you can have the better look at the 7 C's of business. You can find this on the shared drive. The link is in the chat, and now we are waiting for Evgeny to join. I hope you can hear me and see me. Yeah, we can hear and see you, Zhenya. Thank you very much for joining. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving me the motivation. And due to you, I was thinking about this conference. Thank you. Let's put the fires to celebrate Zhenya's effort. Artem, thank you very much. Actually, I believe I need to restore balance, because the idea is all yours. And using this opportunity once again, I want to share that Artem is an incredible person. and the way he works, what he's doing, and the conference. I'm really happy that I'm part of this protest and that we managed to organize it, that we found each other, and that we became partners in this wonderful and indeed necessary event. I am really under impression after this video of Ariel. Actually, a lot was done by women for this conference too as well. First of all, I want to name 3 names at least. Those are fantastic people. Without those ladies, nothing would happen. At least we managed to do this so well. Julia, Lisa, Lara, I want to thank you so much. We're really grateful. You stay behind the scenes, but what you do is enormous. And now I want to welcome you all. Thank you for joining. Thank you for participating. I'm absolutely sure that the coming 3 days are indeed the days that you will enjoy. And those 3 days will help you to navigate the seas better. So this is it on my side and my introduction. Thank you very much. I totally support your words of gratitude to wonderful ladies, and I want to thank Aria, who translated the presentation, and I also want to thank Anastasia and Ksenia, who are now doing the interpretations. You cannot be the only person on the ship. You cannot have a crew if you are the only person, and without the crew, you cannot move the ship. Zhenya, I want to ask you several questions regarding those seas currently, based on your understanding of the landscape or the market. What is the main sea right now? What do you believe it's important to focus most? They are all important, but still, what are the priorities? Well, for me, it's not the first time I look at this map, and I believe it's really shows really good all those fields where we need communication and storytelling. But for me, the main starting point where you need to start the journey, actually, sometimes this map, I imagine a kind of a video game when you go from level to level and cover them all. And for me, first level is the Sea of Unity. This is, I believe, what is important, and I would believe that it's important to start this sea. So, because this sea can really give us the possibility to stay aligned, and we can understand what's important for us, or where I'm going, what I believe is wrong and what is right. This is the questions we ask ourselves. And I really like this question. If this map of seas is also about the journey, not only for the company, but journey for the person himself or herself. I believe this is very true. We also all go for this journey. So then you ask yourself all those questions that are part of the Sea of Unity. And then you ask your team members. And then you have this open dialogue. It's easy then to explore all other seas. All seas are very difficult. And if from the very beginning, you ask the question, why are you doing this? And you'll be aligned in this. In the very tough moment that will come one day, you'll have this support of each other. I believe this is a very good risk prevention, so to say. Be aligned from the very beginning. I will support this. And now let's have a look at this map of the Sea of Unity. Let's look at the types of vehicles that exist there. Once again, I share the link to download the map. You can find them both in Russian and English. In Google Drive, this is in a version in English. And I would like to share the story of KPMG. They are doing the consulting, they are in top 5. And they thought that mission is probably something suspicious, but then they checked the numbers, they understood that they need to do something. Like the world is changing, they are really not. And they inspire confidence and power change. So this was the mission that they coined. Wonderful moment was that actually it all was launched to the stories, and they launched a campaign that was called 10,000 Stories. They created a challenge to the team members to do the posters with stories that will show how their work actually shows or supports the mission. And there were a lot of posters. They thought that by the Thanksgiving Day, we would have like 10,000 posters. But actually, so they given 6 months for that, but already in a month, they had 42,000 posters. 95 partners then mentioned that they had high engagement. They also had a higher trust in company, and in 6 months, KPMG for the first time reached the rank of 12 in one of the important ranking in the that shows the satisfaction rate of the partners and of the employees. Thank you for this wonderful example from the Sea of Unity. Well, so you mentioned that the Sea of Unity is the main sea, but as for the storms, where the storms that are the heaviest, where we have the highest wind and the highest wave? Well. You really need to go to those difficult seas, so to say, in order to be able to go through the whole journey. I believe that the Sea of Clarity is the most vulnerable one, but at the same time, it's very important. As already mentioned, the Sea of Unity it unites us all. We have some joint experience there that can help us to build a culture, to do the groundwork. But unfortunately, we are not at the same room sometimes. We are not really close to each other. In large companies, we are in different offices, we have different. And in this routine, in all those bureaucratical parts, sometimes you say too much, or you say not enough, or you just give the wrong interpretation of the words. So sometimes you forget about some principles of unity as well, and it just accumulates. And it takes a lot of discipline from C-level, for example, or from the leadership, to stay focused and not to let those different small things from happening. So leadership need to prevent such cases, and people actually start to hear the open dialogue. They don't want to talk to each other. They don't want and they cannot be open to each other. Because in business context, we really need this, and we want to be a bit vulnerable still, so to be open. This is indeed needed for business. I strongly believe that clarity is really needed because it implies discipline, so willpower, um, goal orientation as well. And actually, it's also easy, but it's hard to keep it in mind in your daily routine. Not to forget about clarity, but in long-term perspective, this is really important. So for me, self-clarity. This is the most difficult one. Lots of storms there. I really like the way you support this idea that you really need to have discipline in order to cross the sea. Just recently, we discussed with one of our directors how to actually motivate one of the top managers to have this habit to get together with the team and discuss the perspectives openly. Just recently, on Monday, just out of the blue, I got the letter from one of the speakers, from Mary Alice Archer, who will join us today in the evening. I just got that she checked the participation, and I'm writing to her, what happened? I stopped breathing in 30 minutes. She just says, well, I just had 2 invitations, so I rejected one of those invitations. But throughout those 30 minutes, I thought of everything, and I just was thinking that, hey, I cannot substitute her. And it demonstrates pretty well that the lack of clarity, even in such small details, can really kill off joy and everything. And as for corporate world, in 2008 in Starbucks, they had the crisis due to the scaling up in different countries and in different cities. Howard Schultz was back to Starbucks in order to mitigate this crisis. He is the top part of the top team, just as we have here in this Sea of Clarity. He shared a story about his trip to Milano when he realized that this is the coffee shop can be the third place, and then he created this vision of Starbucks. And there was also a wonderful moment when in February 2008 he closed 7,000 of coffee shops, lost 6 million of revenue, so that all baristas they would be able to go through the training. This was quite symbolic. It showed really well that, well, I'm ready to lose profit in order to be better, to improve the skills. And actually, their shares, they just increased in prices 4 times after this action. So yeah, I believe when we just forget about details, when we don't properly communicate, this can really ruin everything. Well, so sea of unity, self-clarity, done. There you would move next. Well, this example with Mary Alice rejecting the invitation, it just shows really well what can happen that there is no clarity, and people can feel frustration, stress sometimes, or not even sometimes, quite often. People feel that we're not motivated. We do one thing, we feel something else, we don't know where we're going, and it takes too much energy. You lose it, and at a certain moment, you just burn out. You just want to go back to default settings and once again review some core principles, review, but you don't have an energy for that because all those doubts they've taken all from you. So actually, does it resonate with you? I believe you all have experience in large companies. Probably you also had this feeling that you don't know where you're going, why you're working so much, and does it really bring any result? Please share in the chat if you also can relate to this. So I believe that CEO vitality is what we need next in order to come through the safely through this journey. So I believe what is important is to learn how to create value and how to make it so that people would feel trusted, supported, and that we would create energy, not just use energy of people. And I hope that throughout those three days, we'll also learn how to speak so that the energy wouldn't be taken, but it would be given. I'll just share a brief example with the sea, about the Sea of Fidelity. We have this wonderful bay here. Clarity, unity, without energy, without vitality, it won't do any good. And Adam Grant has wonderful example in one of his books. He was writing about the case from the call center. And he was exploring the idea that some people are taking more, others being given more. In the call center group, he had the survey. And the whole group, they were actually were doing some charity work. But what is important is that during this survey in the call center and people who are working for charity, he showed really well that people who were more of the takers, they were more motivated because they had their KPIs, but the others, they weren't properly motivated. So after this, he carried out a short interview with a person who actually helped, who actually got education through this charity work. So after this motivation, after this interview, the second group of those who are more the givers, they were more motivated to take money, to collect money for charity. Surely, we cannot only motivate people not to prevent burnout, but this is one of the things that can be done. Well, as for the next C, I believe the C of stability. This is indeed a C that we need to be focused on sometimes, because this is the C can help us to prevent the risks and so on. It may sound boring, but it actually not. And those boring things are really needed. It's just as part of our hygiene. You brush your teeth. It's not a big action, but actually helps you every day. It's something small that actually helps to create big things. And in the Sea of Resilience, we have lots of such actions. And it's important to be really respectful of such small things. Sometimes in our teams, they also become part of this category as well. So like no one really understands, also what HR team is doing, and sometimes they are regarded from the top to the bottom. So we need to create a culture where uh, these routine actions, day-to-day work of accountants, of uh, all of the departments that are actually indispensable, they should also be treated with respect. Sometimes um, we are mainly focused on those who bring some new products, innovations, but these routine actions, they are really needed. I'm not saying that HR or work of HR team is totally routine now, but I'm talking about the following, that all of the teams in the company, they should respect each other, and especially those who sometimes are not really seen. I really like this idea with this metaphor or comparison with toothbrushing. Um, takes no time, but it's really important, and you shouldn't underestimate it. Well, actually, people only are reminded about the security personnel, about those who are responsible for cybersecurity only when something is violated. Well, um, I believe those are wonderful examples of stories from Toyota, just as I shared in the very beginning. Also, NASA, they have this whole collection of news reports. They created these stories out of it. So those news reports, they could have led to some tragedies, but they actually didn't. So those stories for NASA, they are really focusing on the small things that could have led to something drastic, but actually something the risk was prevented. Well, I would like to add that the chief storyteller, or the narrator in the company, can work for C-levels for sure. It's probably good for your ambition, but actually, the true storyteller doesn't speak um, only to C-level and create speeches for some big events. No, he should be part of these daily routines of this toothbrushing, because storytelling and stories, they should address those small details, those routine processes um, that actually are part of our day-to-day job. Now, I totally agree with that. This daily practice, it doesn't really bring results immediately, but you work on this every day and it just grows. Oh, and I would like to address the participants. Well, looking at these C's, what is the C that resonates with you most right now? Surely put the fire reaction if this whole concept is something that relates to you, and please share what is the C that is most important for you now. Oh, great. Well, thank you for your answer. Del, C of efficiency. I have named only 4 Cs, but I'm absolutely sure that this whole ecosystem of Cs are important. Those are all necessary levels or stages in the evolutionary path of every company. So we cannot say what one C is more important than other. It's just important to set the vector for every company, how to navigate. Actually, in our conference, some speakers will be really part of this. Just let me give some examples. For example, we have Sofia Maslenikova from Toska Bank. She'll be talking about the DNA, so that the brand awareness and brand attractiveness would be natural. We also have Steve Benegi and Peter Rudge. They are part of the Sea of Clarity. Steve will tell about the way we can make certain changes transparent. He will share the stories regarding to this, and Steve will also show how stories can be used for strategy building. We also have Olga Levchenko and Valentina Romanova as part of the Sea of Unity. Valentina will tell about the way they work with culture, the corporate culture. And also, Ollie will share the story of values, and 3 more examples. Susan Landon will tell about the innovative storytelling. This is her key expertise. This is truly about the Sea of Growth, how you can share, how you can tell about the innovations. And in the Sea of Efficiency, we would have the former chief storyteller of IB. So we would also have Mr. Falcon from RBI. He would also share the way they will communicate with the clients. And as for Richardson, he will tell about the corporate storytelling and how it can promote the efficiency. If you have questions related to this Sea of map of 7 seas, please share the questions. And now, Jenny, the following question. Do you have a kind of a take-home message related to this map? Well, I have an insight that I just had, and I would like to share it with you. Well, no, we are kind of a world in a world that is not globalized anymore. But this makes it even more acute that we can be part of one map, that we can be part of this unity, we can work together. For me, this is an insight right now. If you want to unite people, you can. This conference is a wonderful example. We are here united. We are from different companies, from different organizations, from different countries. And we didn't need to have, we didn't need tons of money to do this. We just wanted to do this to become united. So you need to start, you need to act to actually reach something. This is like a kind of insight for me. And I'm not too sure if you'll be attentive. Surely some of these speeches they would be more close to you, others not so much. But I'm absolutely sure that you're about to transform if you be really following what's going on during those 3 days. Surely you'll have your own tasks. You'll be maybe tired sometimes, but I'm sure that you're about to have at least a minor transformation. You'd be maybe more aware of things and so on. Well, just take this seriously. It will help us all. Thank you very much. Really I like this comment from Tatiana, who's saying that we'll surely have some transformations because we are talking about the real sense of things, about the meaning. And friends, thank you for joining. Thank you for being so active in the chat. Yeah, please be involved. This is really great. Thank you very much. And now we'll proceed with our Johnny. Thank you very much for your experience, for being with us here. And we are going to another speaker, and I present the next speaker right now.